after we record. Okay, George, so on this call today, you have me, Dr. Davi Kallman, and so I am talking to you today in my capacity as the ADA coordinator, since you had discussed a possible disability discrimination concern that you had.
Yes.
I also have a representative from the Access Center, and that representative is Miss Laquita Williams, and she is the assistive technology coordinator at the Access Center. And so we will be, today's session will be essentially a listening session. We want to understand what your concerns are so that we can do some background information on our end, and we can talk to all necessary parties to get an idea of the bigger picture of how we can help you, okay?
Well, the first thing I ask in a listening session is, did you receive the emails forwarded?
I did, yes. I got those emails you forwarded me, and then over the weekend, I read most of them. We work with a lot of students, so I hadn't had a chance to delve into all of them as much as I would like to, but yes, I did receive them.
Okay, well then you have an idea of basically what's going on. Okay. Well, I guess the first part of it is I'm bringing a grievance against Vernon Hosanna, which is my was supposed to be my writing for paralegals class. I never got in the class. I tried emailing the first day of the class. I tried calling the school. When I finally got through and asked them directly, basically when and where, or what's the code to the class, I still wasn't given the class. So my grades supposedly fell below financial aid assistance. And I was basically being sent letters that was time to exit and pack up and go because of it. And my loans would have been sent right there. I spoke to Adam Myers, and he says that I got a C in the class, which is also ridiculous because I didn't take the class at all and didn't finish any assignments. I don't need grades just given to me when somebody gets caught up in their own trap.
Okay, so I'm going to go backwards just a little bit to get some more clarifying information. So you said that you got into the class, but you were never given the Zoom information or anything on how to access it.
I didn't get into the class at all, but I mean I was registered, but no, I wasn't given the Zoom information. I believe this Vernon Hosanna was just playing the role as a cat's paw to basically get around my civil rights or my disabilities or whatever, to get rid of me quietly before any of this thing went down of what's happening now. That's what I believe.
Okay, and then so when you tried to get into the class, who did you email to ask for the Zoom information and the code?
Vernon Hosanna.
Okay, and did Vernon Hosanna email you back?
He emailed me back on the fourth time I tried under the Gmail account. Yes, I sent I don't know, that should be with the file too, that actual email. He emailed me back and said he'd give me more time, but that's not what I'm asking for. I wasn't sure if I needed more time. I needed to know if there was a class, and if there's a class at all, so I would even know what to do, period. You feel me?
And so did you do any homework or anything for the class, or you didn't participate at all?
I didn't. The only thing I did was on my own time read the textbook I got for the class. I didn't participate at all, but I got a C out of it now. No assignments, nothing. I just got to see, just, shut up and move on.
And so at that time of the email, Vernon never gave you the Zoom information of how to get into the class?
No.
Did you respond back asking for additional information?
I didn't contact him again after that because, quite frankly, I've been going through this type of thing with TCC now for 20 years, since Lori Jenkins was found on our videos giving alcohol to a minor. I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, I have stress of my own. I'm trying to deal with my situation as it is. It can't get more and more ridiculous that I can't just get the actual service I need, where I have to dot every I for everybody and T every T and go around and make sure this, that. The last time this happened, the last quarter this happened with Chris Kearney, I was like, okay, this is COVID. So maybe, you know, I spent the last week trying to kill myself just to get a C- doing all the work. This is just a habit. This is just a habitual thing that keeps going on with TCC. And the reason is quite clear on the evidence that's always already been released publicly. So, I mean, you know, I reported it to EOC, and I was basically given the advice to just get in there and try to just do as many assignments as I can for the last 10 days.
Yeah.
even
So,
if I haven't been
been
to
in
a
the
class
class.
or even known a class, just
So,
to get a grade.
George, I have a quick question. You keep mentioning EOC. What does the EOC stand for? Because I can't find anything.
Education Opportunity Center. It's
Okay.
so Samantha Romero Sabo was, at least she said, she called here upset, pissed off at me for some fake outrage, and we ended up falling out. But she's the first one I reported it to, that I have this history with TCC with, at least since I've been back at school since January.
Okay. So you've been working with Samantha Romero from the EOC. So it's okay. For some reason, yeah, how to enroll. It's called the Spruce Grant. So that's why I hadn't heard of it.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was EOC, but she's been so-called. She says she's been let go until further notice. I don't know if they did something to her for it, but you know, she was very upset over the phone. Ended up hanging up on me. Said this ain't going to turn out the way I think it is, and or not going to end the way I think it is. And you know, if that's the threat, there's nothing more that they could basically do that they weren't already going to do.
Okay. So you were working with Samantha Romero from the Spruce program. Okay, so
that's what you call it. I didn't know it to be the Spruce program. I just knew it to be the EOC. She was helping me. She was helping me get myself together as far as dealing with all the things new in the school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it to be a Spruce program.
So the EOC is it's the social service agency that screens participants and refers them to TCC. At TCC, it's called the Spruce program.
Okay, well, it's good to know that. I didn't know that.
And it stands for Space Available to Respond to the Unemployed Through College Education.
Okay.
Now we know. Okay, so and you told this to Samantha. So did you ever file a grade grievance or like to petition a grade after you got that C for the class?
Yes, that's what I thought I was doing with Adam Myers, since he was in charge of workforce.
Okay.
But the thing is, this is my third grievance. I filed one in 2003 against Patty Nelson. She was fired. I filed one against Dave Pelkey back in 2008. He ended up leaving. And this is another one against Vernon Hosanna.
Okay. So
they're all on that disc too, or that file. All three grievances should be on.
So the grievance is a little, so what you're explaining here, the grievance that you've talked about with Lori Jenkins and stuff would be a little different than what I'm referring to. So this is a final course grade appeal process.
Okay, so, as far as that process go, I don't know every ins and outs to do that. That's why I sent a grievance letter to the dude that pays for my college that I'm aware of, Adam Myers of Workforce. I sent him that email with the grievance and why I was sending it with the situation. Now I'm sure there's basically, well, you didn't hop on your feet 3 times and spin and speak to the man under the magic mushroom there. I don't know the exact process, but my desire to file a grievance, it was written grievance right on there against Vernon Hosanna, was given to Adam Myers, and I was speaking, and I spoke to it. I spoke to my civil law teacher about it or whatever, who offered to hear me out about it, Paul Landry. So if there's another process of filing them grievances, I mean, out of the 3 grievances I filed for the past 20 years, hasn't none of them done anything anyway, except get me in more and more trouble. But
I think it was probably what appears to me, it's there's different grievances at hand here. So what it sounds like to me is that, at least for the Vernon Hosanna situation, is that there was obviously a huge mix-up. You never got into the class. You got graded for the class that you weren't in, and that you need to appeal that final grade because you were never in the class. You never got the information. That's what it sounds like. Is that correct?
That is correct. But I don't think it was just a mix-up. That's as far, I know it wasn't a mix-up.
Okay, and so you feel that it was discrimination?
Definitely.
Okay, so
no doubt in my mind.
Now,
matter of fact,
regarding discrimination, do you feel it was a disability discrimination or a different type of a reason why you were being discriminated?
I think my disability and my race plays into the equation, because that could be exploited and to discredit my character of anything that has to be brought against the actual real reason. And the real reason for all the grievances, in my estimation, is the former board chair, Lori Jenkins. That's what I believe. As far as, I don't think they care whether I'm disabled or whether I'm Black or whatever like that, or whatever that's just a red herring when it comes to dealing with the situation. The fact of the matter is, I've always had problems with TCC since Lori Jenkins' party. They accused me of stealing the VH. I was the president of the club at the time. They accused me of stealing the footage or stealing the tapes and equipment to buy drugs when it was Lori Jenkins caught on tape with my partner giving alcohol to an infant. Now, I know that has nothing to do with this, that, and what's going on today, but in a sense it does, because every motivation to keep me out of my student rights stems from what happened back then, in my estimation. And I believe that what I put forth in that particular file, because there's more files, but in that particular file that I put forth is a healthy amount of information that could prove that beyond a reason, at least if not beyond a reasonable doubt, it has the preponderance of evidence. That's what I believe.
Well, I cannot speak to the Lori Jenkins case. I personally have never heard of Lori Jenkins or, the situation that you're telling me about. My role as the ADA coordinator is to make sure that your rights as an individual with disability are taken seriously. And so I do have a couple of follow-up questions. So you had mentioned that you're an individual with a disability. Have you ever registered with our Access Services offices for disability?
Yes.
Okay. When did you register for accommodations?
2001, again in 2008, again, and again I reported it last quarter when so 3 times.
Okay.
In my career.
So you applied for accommodations through our office?
Accommodations is the first time. I don't understand what you mean by accommodations first.
So here at PCC, we have what is referred to as Access Services. This is an office that provides academic accommodations for students with disabilities. A student has to apply for accommodations in order to get them.
What I have applied for was basically, look, I'll need more time because of such and such in this mental illness. Well, here's a letter, here you go. That's the accommodations that I've done in the 3 times I've applied through your office then, yes.
Okay, so you did go directly through Access Services.
That I believe whoever they were, they gave me what I needed to do, what I had to do, and I went on with the services. I have been written down as mentally ill since 2002. So this is nothing new. So yeah, you should have my paperwork in there. George R. Hoyt.
Okay, I'm going to take a look right now. And then when you worked with Access Services, who did you work with?
I really wouldn't know off the top of my head who exactly that person was. Whoever was at the time in charge of those things, they gave me what I needed when I first graduated with it.
Okay, let me take a look right now, because when I took a quick peek in our files, I didn't see anything, but let me look at the paper copies. Give me 1 second. You've already done the gauges, right? For scanning? Do you know where you put them? I need to find one student's file. Yeah, the ones? Okay, I'm gonna take a look. Thank you. All right, George, I can't find any documents. We keep documents for a while, but I can't see anything here.
I'm
By
not
chance-
surprised.
Well, we keep documents for 10 years. And that's pretty customary for all offices. You keep documents.
Except when it basically incriminates a board chair and a state representative.
Well, you said you worked with us in 2001 and 2008, right?
From 2001 to 2003. Then again, I came back to school 2006 to 2007. Then I came back in 2008 to 2010. I worked with them during that time again because of I filed a grievance against somebody who against Dave Pelkey, and I needed to be able to get extra time with my homework assignments So they gave me basically they had me show that bring in a note from my doctor that I was actually mentally ill. So that should at least be on file, I'd imagine, that I do take pills and what kind of pills I take before they gave me the note to show all these people. Look, if this is only about Vernon Hosanna, what I want from Vernon Hosanna, if this is what he calls a mix-up, and I got a C basically because it's mixed up and I never got in the class and he just didn't know, I don't buy it. But regardless, I want the grade rescinded as if I never took the class. And Adam Myers has already let me know when I register for the class, workforce will pay for it. He says he's on my side. Dan Small said he was on my side, and I ended up being brutally beaten by the police and in the mental hospital 24 hours later. So I don't know who to trust at TCC. So I don't trust anybody.
And how long was that?
That was in 2003 when the footage was found and whatever in the first place. So, but I mean, it's back to the Vernon Hosanna. Like I said, this is a 12-headed monster that I don't expect anybody just showing up to understand, because it's hard for me even to keep stuff straight and keep everything in the files that I have been able to keep throughout the years. However, what I want from Vernon Hosanna is to basically rescind that grade off of my class. It should have been an E because I didn't get into the class at all. I called the school the first day. It said to be announced on my portal for this class. The only reason I knew the class even started is because I was in the spruce, as you say it's called, with Samantha that day of the class. I called every person I could call in the building to find out where is the class, if there was a class, how the class worked. I still don't know if there was a class. Now I'm hearing from Adam Myers on the phone conversation that I got a C out of the class. And that's the thing. I had to do this last quarter, and I have to call Adam Myers, and I have to do that by appointment. And usually it's a 10 to 2 week wait before he could call you back from the appointment, how it's scheduled. So, I mean, chasing down these people who understand I have a history of a mental illness and not letting me into the class, that's garbage. That's garbage. And I mean, I'm tired of putting up with it from TCC. I've been putting it up ever since this birthday party, and it's time for it to stop. Even if this is done and it's rescinded, I'm glad this is being recorded, because when I go back to TCC, I want this on file, that if they try something like this in a similar fashion again, then we just have to deal with them accordingly.
Okay. So you had mentioned wanting to have the grade rescinded from the class with Vernon Hosanna. You don't understand how you got a C for the class when you did not attend it. Yep. So I will like to go back, because you had mentioned on the voicemail to me that you felt it was disability discrimination. So that's why, we scheduled this meeting. It was taking
advantage of my disability, basically, to basically discredit everything and get me out of class, get me out of the school, where I don't have any more student rights and I don't have any more power to bug these people about being in school anymore. That's what it was. That's part of the discrimination. He's a lawyer. He spoke to me. He knows how important it is to get in this class. He knows all the variables. Now, have I ever met the man? No. Can I get into a psychological thinking of, well, he came to you and did something so obvious, like pushed you down the steps or whatever. So now I could claim that you could claim it's discrimination. It is discrimination, because if he's not making the class available to me in no way, shape, or form, if they keep messing around with my saying to be announced or whatever, if I call and I talk to you and I let you know, and I let them know on the same email, look, I got a mental illness, but I don't require too much. I just need to know where and when and how to get into the class.
So just to confirm, you did tell Vernon that he had a mental illness?
Yes, in that same email. Yeah, it's in that email that he answered.
Did Vernon at any point respond back to that comment in a condescending tone or anything that would make you feel that discrimination was present?
No. No, I don't know. He didn't say no. No, of course not. I mean, I wouldn't think he'd be a good attorney as far as, or even a good teacher if he would be that stupid to write something like that down. I mean, if that's the type of evidence you need, then we really don't have nothing to discuss, because that's anybody who's that stupid, it will speak for itself.
Okay. So, and then you also have been working with Adam Meyer for everything else. Okay, so there's two things here. So, it does become difficult, I will be honest with you, George, regarding proving disability discrimination when there's not physical or any written evidence of discrimination in terms of anything written in an email, any recording that a teacher said, because the Office of Civil Rights, when a claim is made regarding disability discrimination, that is what they look for. This is not TCC, this is the Office for Civil Rights, the national governing body. So they require evidence.
Well, I think basically the whole idea of mental illness most of the time is a junk science anyway. But so it's hard to even prove that. So basically, we're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff that's in the air anyway. So I mean, if this is just, I would just like a copy of this. I thank you for your time, and I'll just keep a copy of this for my records, and get with Adam Myers, and just basically let him know, look, I'm gonna get back in school. I'll talk to what I still uphold my grievance that basically that grade, that C, I don't want to C, I don't want to E, just rescind the grade, and I'll do this again. But
I will be honest too, that I don't think Adam Myers has that power to do that. There is a process though. Let me tell you the two things that you can do in your power, and I can give you access to these resources.
Okay.
So Adam can serve as an advocate for you, but there is a process that is voted on by the TCC governing body. And so what they do, they have two things. One is called a final course grade appeal process. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat, and I will email you a copy, because there's two possible things that you can do. So it sounds to me like you want to appeal this.
Yeah.
Now, this is a little interesting case because you didn't attend the class, and you don't understand why you even got a grade to begin with. I agree, that's really confusing, and I don't understand it. But so here's one process. And when it comes to any form of policies, because this is a TCC policy, which is the final grade appeal process, you follow the policy. Now, any advocate that you've been working with on campus can help you with this. They can help you if you have any questions, do this. But it's pretty detailed. It says like step one, what do you need to do? So it looks like you've already talked to the professor. So then the step two would be to contact the program chair. And then it has information of what to do, why you believe there's a discrepancy, documentation. So all the documentation you've already collected would be good evidence. And then all of that. And then after that, the chair has an opportunity to make a decision. If the chair sides with the student, then they, hopefully what you would want would happen. And if not, there's a formal appeal process, which then it goes to the dean or the manager, and then it would go to the second level of appeal process, would go to the provost. Okay. A lot of things can be solved though by the first or second informal process. It's pretty straightforward. It's here to help the students. It really is very student-centered in this approach. So that's one thing you could do. You could appeal the grade. Oh. Number two is you can file for a withdrawal after the fact. So they call it a petition to policy exception. Did Adam tell you about that one?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so let me send you this too.
You send it to my email because I don't really understand Zoom.
Okay, so yeah, I'm happy to do that. Okay, so let me. So it's the TCC email, or it's the serve notice?
My serve notice, please. Both of them.
Can you give that to me again?
SU is serve with a U. SURVE notice@gmail.com.
Okay, and what's the next one?
The next what?
You said there was 2 emails?
No, I meant the 2 things you're sending.
Okay, okay.
Sending to the same address.
Okay, so I'm going to send you the grade appeal process link. And then there's the petition to policy exception.
Yeah.
And so I honestly, the students I work with, it's a different type of situation, but either one may be beneficial for you. What I recommend is sitting down with both documents to see which one fits your case better. Okay.
Yeah.
And then once you've done that, then follow the procedures exactly how it's stated. They're intended to help the students. I know you've faced a lot of issues with, as you mentioned, TCC in the past, but there's been a lot of changes over the years, and there's a lot of really good administration here that are really focused on helping students. So I definitely recommend you going through the process and see how it goes.
Okay.
So this is the petition to policy exception.
And could you send the link on how I could download this to our meeting with you and Ms. Williams?
Yes. I should be able to just put the recording in another email to you.
Okay, do that. That'll be cool.
Okay, so the petition for policy exception, the form is to request an exception to Tacoma Community College's withdrawal and refund deadlines. Now, this may be a little different, so you definitely want to talk to like financial aid or Adam to kind of see what's going on here. I don't know how this relates to tuition, how it relates to financial aid. I'm giving you resources.
I appreciate that.
And it'll have you like, is this a medical emergency? Is it non-attendance? What does this look like? So that might be for you, the non-attendance one, that might fit. So I would go ahead and look it over, see
Now,
fix your case.
Okay, well, if that fits my non-attendance, all that may fit the case. But being that I'm of the mind, basically, that this is of a more nefarious reason, who do I speak to about that, even if it has to do with my disability?
So
I mean, basically,
if it has to do with disability, if you can provide some hard evidence, we really.
What does that mean, hard when it's mental illness?
So if there is anything, if you have recordings or if you have information that an individual said specifically to you that is considered a discriminatory act, then that makes sense. But
basically I'd have to catch something on camera in order for it to
not necessarily on camera, but be it via email. If a professor said something that made you feel uncomfortable, that the email that you sent me from Vernon Hosanna, when I looked at it, it's pretty friendly. Vernon says, oh, I'm so sorry, here's extra time. So to me it appears that maybe Vernon did not look at your entire message, glazed over, and just put it in there. And okay. So it's hard to prove disability discrimination when we have stuff like that. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Does it make sense? I got to see, and I never did an assignment or seen the man in my life. That
does not make sense. That whole thing is very confusing to me. And I definitely think the best person to actually contact about that, if you don't feel like talking to Vernon, would be the chair of the department. And Vernon is in the legal program.
Christine Kearney, is that her?
I don't think it's Christine Kearney. I thought Christine Kearney was in the communication department. Let me check. And so you do not feel comfortable with approaching Vernon Hosanna?
I don't know Vernon Hosanna. And as far as I'm concerned, in my mind, he's just a cat's paw. Yes, he's gonna sound friendly. Yes, he's gonna do everything except give me what I need to get in his class, take his class, get my rightful grade that I should get taking his class. I don't mind taking his class and flunking his class. I just want to take.
You want to earn it. Yeah, you want to earn that grade. My honest opinion, George, because this is very odd. It is very odd that like, you got a grade for a class that you didn't attend.
I know why I got a grade for the class. I'm just being skipped through now that basically I've put forth evidence of why this is going on. I guess they didn't think I'd sit down and finally release it, but I have. So it's just give them a C, let them go on and whatever. No. But that's what I think. But yes, he
And
sounded
so there's no reason that they would believe you participated. So nothing you turned in, you didn't show up to class at all.
I don't even know if there is a class.
Okay. So yeah, I honestly, if you're, which it's very confusing, a good place to start would be contacting Vernon and the chair of the department.
No, I don't have nothing to say to him. The chair of the department, because like I said, the whole aspect of giving me a grade now for this, now that it's become an issue, is I mean, even if it's supposedly in my favor, isn't that discrimination in and of itself? Isn't that proof of discrimination of my mental capacity that you're just gonna give me a C? Why not give me an A+ then? Screw it. Why don't you just give me
I cannot speak.
Yeah,
and unfortunately I cannot speak to why the professor did what they did. It could have been an accident. It could, we don't know. We frankly do not know. And that's what makes this a very, difficult situation, is that there's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of information surrounding, the conversation with Vernon, what was going on. So if you have anything else besides what you sent me, absolutely, please send that my way.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like I say, I hold on to different things for when these type of issues come up and I'm handed to someone and it's like, well, this is not enough. It's something we could do, because eventually I'll come across somebody that it is enough for, and the icing on the cake will just be sent then. But I mean, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for the resources. I'll check them out. I'll check out whoever's in thing with the board or withdrawing the grade and whatever, and try to go back to school. If you could just send me this in some kind of file that I could either download, and if it also too, in case something's up with the download, if you could send the actual Zoom thing anyway, where I could download it myself if need be, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. I don't know if it lets you without being in my account, and unfortunately I can't give you access to my Zoom account. So okay, I will send you.
Paul Landry was able to send me, but I'm a student, so maybe that's it.
It could be. Not sure about that. And obviously, any recording that you use, we please ask that you don't post on social media if you can. This is
I don't want to post this one on social media anyway, but I have posted the other ones. Sure. But like I said, hey, I will not guarantee if it comes to some call proving my point, because these people have done put me in jail in Western State and all these places to shut me up already, and they ain't gonna shut me up this time without a fight.
I understand.
So that's what's up. So I can't promise it, but that's what's up.
Okay, I understand. It's been a very traumatizing, situation for you, and
very.
It sounds like it.
People who knows, documented, and if it's not in my file, then it's taken out of my file, because it's been reported 3 times. Everybody knows about it.
Yeah. And one thing to note though is that most, and in fact all schools, there is a amount of years that we are required to hold student files for. So typically it's 7 years. 7 years is a requirement of files. So it's just some context to understand if from reasons.
I've held on to the files that I've had, and I've
submitted. That's good. It's good to keep your files. I just wanted you to know that a lot of institutions hold student records for 7 years. That's typically the norm.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Kallman.
Okay. My pleasure. And if you have any other form of concerns regarding disability discrimination, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Well, if it ever comes into the point that they slip up and ever get that crazy and do something, I actually will. But unless it's something that I could prove on, and no, this is not a Rodney King moment where somebody's gone by on a camera and it's just some gotcha thing like that. This is way more refined than that. And if it has to be more refined than that, there's something that can be seen like a mental illness, then y'all can't help me anyway, unless it comes to that. But I thank you for your time.
Absolutely. thank you for sharing. And, you know, I appreciate you telling your story to Miss Laquita and I. And like I said, if there's anything else that falls under the realm of disability discrimination, please feel free to reach out.
Okay.
Other than that, I will go ahead and send you this recording as soon as it processes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.